Hey everybody, it's Matt Mayoko. I put on my glasses today, my readers, to make myself look smarter than I am because I'm going to be dealing with some numbers on this video. This video is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery. It's a restaurant, a brewery, a beer garden, all located in Moraga, California. It's a great place to go, a great menu of food and beer. It's a very family friendly atmosphere. So take the family there, hang out, and who knows, you might just see me. I live down the street and I'm really excited because Canyon Club will be coming soon to the Livery in Danville. So it's a great location. If you haven't been there, check it out. I've been to Canyon Club as they're building that thing out. It's going to be spectacular. So I'm sure if you stop by regularly, at some point our paths will cross. Okay, so here's my thing. Every Tuesday for the past couple of years, I do a thing called 49ers Overreactions. And so it's basically I ask for statements on threads for fans to just kind of vent, but give me a statement, not a question. It's not a mailbag. It's just, I want a statement, and then I'm going to tell you if it's an overreaction or not. And so I will include the link down below in the notes so you can check out the latest 49ers overreactions. And by the way, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, comment. I try to get to as many comments as I possibly can, but the more comments that come in makes it a little bit more difficult. But I appreciate all your support. And yeah, please subscribe to this channel. Okay, so here was one of the overreactions, and it's coming from Brian Siddell. And his statement was: Kyle Shanahan is far too happy to settle for field goals on fourth and short as the rest of the league gets more aggressive. Conservative Kyle is just as much to blame as Moody for taking long field goals over going for it. And so my reaction was, or is it an overreaction? What Brian said, and my answer was not entirely. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the just go for it all the time. I think it backfires more often than not. And I mean, I just think back to the NFC Championship game, and the Lions went for it on fourth down, passed up some field goals, some opportunities to get points. And the whole thing was, well, that's the way Dan Campbell's been doing it all year, of course. Yeah, but all year you can get away with setting the tone and maybe take a loss here and there, but that was the NFC Championship game. And the I know the metrics and the analytics always say go for it. Um, and I honestly don't understand that entirely. And that's why I have my glasses on, because I'm trying to act smart. I'm sure some analytics people can tell me why I'm wrong on just not having the knee-jerk reaction of go for it. I look around the league, and the top six teams who go for it most in the NFL this season: Cleveland, Chicago, Dallas, the New York Giants, Carolina, and Jacksonville. Are those six teams the teams that you want to build your offensive strategy around over what they're doing? I don't think so. Meanwhile, the 49ers are near the bottom of the NFL in going for it the least number of times. They're 3 for 7 on the season on fourth down conversions. Now, the other teams in the NFL who have, now show me the light here, but the other teams that have gone for it 7 or fewer times in the league are Baltimore, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, and the LA Chargers. So I would think that that company is certainly better to be a part of than that first batch of teams that I talked about. Now, I think that, well, a couple things. This was coming off the heels of the 49ers 23-20 victory over Tampa Bay, a much closer than it should have been type of game. And on that day, I thought the 49ers made the right choices because their fourth down attempts were for 9 yards, 3 yards, 15, 5, and 7. And we can discuss the end of half strategy, but the 49ers have been very consistent under Kyle Shanahan, and he claims to have the analytics that prove that his end of half strategy is the way to go as far as just making sure that the clock runs down. They don't give the other team an opportunity to score points. They want the last opportunity to score points. So they didn't take a timeout late when Tampa Bay had the ball in the toward the end of the first half. They let some time run down, and they still got all the plays off they needed because they had a 4th and 3 situation from the Tampa 31 with 29 seconds left. At that point, it's probably the best move there to try to take the points, which of course the 49ers didn't get those points because Jake Moody missed the field goal. But at that point, with 29 seconds left, and again, we can debate whether the 49ers should have had more time left, which would have probably allowed them to go for it on 4th and 3, because with 29 seconds left, even if you convert that 4th and 3, you're still probably going to end up settling for a field goal. Yeah, you may take a shot or two at the end zone, but that's probably a high risk play at that point. And so you just want to end the half with some points. 49ers didn't get those points. So whatever. I can see that one either way as far as how they approach that late game situation. But the one thing that I keep going back to when it comes to 4th down aggressiveness is, what is generally the biggest indicator of whether a team wins or loses in the NFL? It is the giveaway takeaway margin. If you have a plus, turnover differential, you usually win. If it's negative, that team usually loses. And so, everybody focuses in on, fumbles and interceptions. But what is it when you go for it on 4th down and you fail? It's called a turnover on downs. So therefore, I just wonder if, and again, people who are a lot smarter than me run these numbers and they've figured it out and they've determined that it's in the best interest of the teams generally to go for it on 4th down. But when I look around the league, the teams that go for it more always fail more, or generally fail more. And I decided to look at which teams have the best success ratio when it comes, or differential margin when it comes to 4th downs, meaning how many times do they fail offensively? How many times do they succeed defensively? And I think the numbers kind of match up to where you think they would be, as far as the good teams have a plus differential and the bad teams have a minus differential. Right now, I'm just scanning the numbers that I put together here. Buffalo is a plus 12. They've only failed on 4th down once this season, while they've stopped the opposition 13 times on 4th down. So that's a plus 12. On the other end, the Miami Dolphins, a team that's underachieved up to this point. Of course, there's been some reasons for that. They're minus 11. Carolina, a bad team, minus 8. Kansas City, an undefeated team, plus 6. And so Washington, a team that's probably exceeded expectations, they're a plus 5. Minnesota, a team that I would say has exceeded expectations, they're plus 9. 49ers are a plus 2. So they've failed on 4th down 4 times, and they've stopped the opposition on 4th down 6 times. So all that said, and I've given you the reasons why I just don't think it should be a given. If it's 4th and 3 and under, go for it. All that said, I do think it makes sense for the 49ers to go for it on 4th down more often, and especially inside the red zone. And here's why. 49ers have struggled mightily in the red zone this season. After last year, they were, 68% of the times they got inside the opponent's 20-yard line, they scored touchdowns. This year, that number has fallen dramatically. And, Christian McCaffrey, his arrival back with the team and the starting lineup, that did not prove to be the antidote to solve that problem. But So maybe that will come around. Maybe they will become better on in red zone situations. I would expect them to be better in those sorts of situations. So I would say this is that because they've been unsuccessful converting those opportunities into touchdowns with three downs, why not try it more often with four downs? And that way, your third down play can kind of set up what you're trying to do on fourth down if the third down play is unsuccessful. So you're giving yourself a better opportunity to get into the end zone when you get into those red zone positions. So that's one reason that I'd say that maybe Kyle Shanahan needs to kind of rethink the strategy and be more aggressive when it comes to using all four downs. And the other part of this is that until Jake Moody proves that he's healthy and is reliable again, that maybe the 49ers need to be more aggressive because trying to take 3 points as a sure thing. Well, you know what? It's not a sure thing anymore, having missed the three field goals against Tampa Bay. The other part of this is Moody. I know he's come under a lot of pressure, or a lot of scrutiny, I should say. And that was another part of the overreactions was that if Jake Moody wasn't drafted in the third round, he'd already be out on the street. Well, I'd say maybe pump the brakes on that. After all, this is a guy that before the three missed game against Tampa Bay, he had converted 23 of his past 25 regular season attempts, and that's over 15 games. So it's not like the guy's never made a field goal before. And, his success rate is 82.2%. Which isn't bad. He's got the strong leg that allows him to put the ball into the end zone and create some touchbacks on kickoff. So, if the 49ers kicked Jake Moody to the curb, he would be picked up in a heartbeat by some other team. So I just say, a little bit of patience with Jake Moody, especially when he's coming off that high ankle sprain, is warranted. And we'll see. I mean, that's not denying that he wasn't good on Sunday. That's also speaking to the 49ers' extreme issues on special teams throughout this season. Two things that they're going to have to get right down the stretch for them to make a push for the playoffs. And that push for the playoffs really kicks into high gear, I think, Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks as the 49ers really have to, if they're going to do themselves some favors, they need to win these games second half of the season against Seattle, against the Rams, to potentially set up the huge game week 18 against Arizona. Can a second team in the NFC West make the playoffs as a wild card? That remains a possibility. So that puts even more emphasis on these next two games, Seattle on Sunday and then at Green Bay, where the 49ers would love to be able to get both of those games, the game in Seattle. I mean, obviously, in addition to giving them a record that could push them into the playoffs, it also helps them. Seattle with a tiebreaker in the NFC West that would move them to 2-2 in the division. Arizona is 2-0 in the division, so the 49ers would need some help along the way as far as Seattle or the Rams beating Arizona. And also the game against Green Bay that could have playoff implications if the 49ers can win that thing, and then they would hold the tiebreaker over the Packers if it comes to that late in the season or when the season is over. So looking at 10 wins, a very good chance 49ers could get into the playoffs with a 10 win, 10-7 record. So again, thanks for watching this video. Love to hear your comments on fourth downs and the logic behind it. If you buy it, if you just think that it's fourth down, always go for it, or if you need to kind of pump the brakes and maybe not be so aggressive. I've always believed that most of the times in the NFL, games are lost and not necessarily won. But I do think that there are opportunities here in the second half of the season for the 49ers to be more aggressive on fourth downs. But ultimately, as I see it, that differential, turnovers on downs, if you can stop the team on fourth downs, you're preventing them from the 3 points, and you're also taking the ball away. And so, in essence, I view it as a turnover and all very much part of that fabric of winning football games. All right. Again, thanks for watching, and that's it for now.